everyone, my name is Kosi and I am so glad to be sharing a little bit of my story about my experience with my Jesus. I grew up in a Christian home. Yes, I'm a pastor's kid, and I went to church every Sunday, and Sundays were religious for our family to go to church. I loved it. As a kid, I would go and sing. I would be on the worship team, would do Christmas stories, Christmas plays, and I enjoyed it and I loved it. And I thought, oh, this is great. This is a great place to be. Until as we were getting older, my father started introducing to me a God that was very scary, a God that would punish me for my sins and burn me in hell. And all of a sudden I was scared and I was shaken, and I thought to myself, I don't want to be led by somebody that is scary, that I cannot have a personal relationship with, or that I can have a conversation with. And therefore what I did when I was young, I'd wake up every Sunday morning and I would disappear into the township 5 o'clock, and my parents would get up, my family would get up, and they would realize that, oh, Kosi is gone. And obviously it was a Sunday morning, they wouldn't look for me. I would wait for them to go, and as soon as they left for church, I would go back home and I would just carry on, do chores for the day, and so that I don't get into trouble. And I did that for years, until one day, when I was in high school, I met a youth pastor, and he spoke to me about a different Jesus, a different God. And I felt like at that moment that God was different to the one that my father had introduced to me. And I felt like it was a time of like an awakening in my soul, an awakening in me, where I realized at that moment that, wow, I am missing something in my life, something significant. When you grow up as a Christian, or when you grow up in a Christian home, you always think that you know who God is. You always think that you're a Christian, you're a believer, you know everything. But I think what a lot of us miss out on is that personal encounter with Jesus, where we are at the point where we know him. We know what he needs from us. We know the expectation. And as well as we know that we can talk to him. Like we can talk to our own dads and our own moms and our own friends. We can have that conversation with him. We can ask him questions. We can cry. We can laugh. It's like a normal relationship that you would have with anybody, except this one is an encounter that you can only imagine, because we haven't met him flesh, but we can feel him. It's like trying to explain love to somebody. When you say, I love you, it's difficult to explain the concept of love, but rather you can just show it to somebody. You can say, I love you. I feel this in my heart. I don't know how to explain it, but I can feel in my heart that I love you, and I want to show you that I love you. And I feel like the things that I'm doing are not enough. It's the same concept when it comes to knowing Christ and falling in love with Jesus. You can't explain it because you haven't seen him in flesh, but you feel him in your heart, and you know that you're in love with him because it's the thing that you want to do. You want to know him, and you want to make him known. And so for me, I was at a point in my life where I felt something was different, and I felt like I wanted to share it with the world. I felt like something had risen inside of me, and I went to a youth camp, and I was 16, and they sang a song from Hillsong called Awakening, and I just remember this moment where I felt so emotional, but at the same time I felt at peace. And it was like almost like something that I couldn't explain at that moment, what was happening, because I was crying, but I was happy, like happy tears, and I didn't understand. But now that I'm older, I understand that I was having an encounter with Jesus. Jesus was inside of me. I was starting to walk with Jesus. And at that moment, I felt like something inside of me was just different. I wanted to be with Jesus every day. I wanted to share Jesus every day, and I wanted to become more like Jesus every day. And so I knew at that point that something was different, something had happened, something was exciting. All of a sudden, I had this excitement, this enthusiasm, and like this, I don't know how to explain it, but this zest for life, wanting to live life with others and experience God together. And I think at that moment, I really did experience Jesus inside of me, where I made him my Jesus, like a personal relationship, a personal Jesus, a personal God, where it wasn't a religious event where everybody was a part of it, but it was a personal thing where I felt it and I experienced it, and I wanted to continue to experience it for the rest of my life. My name is Kosi Colin, and I have had a touch of heaven.